Hello everybody and welcome back. I am Mr. JP and the game is Railroads Online, and thank you all for joining me today. I needed a break from Out of War and Space Engineer, so I decided to play a bit of this. So I've started a new map and I've spent about 6 hours or so building track already. So when you first play this game, the first thing to know, you are not going to drive a train until you've learned to build track. So today I'm going to take you through the early part of the game, but I figured that 6 hours worth of boring building through forest wasn't what you wanted to see first off, so we'll give it a go. Now this is one of the few games that I've got a negative review of on Steam. I'm playing it with the intention of changing that review, giving it a second chance, you know. So for all those fans of Railroads Online, I am hypercritical. Don't worry, it's because I've been playing the game since the start. There's been some problems, developer attitude, that kind of thing. So we're going to go and give it another start. As I say, the developer of Out of War is a king amongst developers. His attitude is beautiful. Because he's done exactly what this game's tried to do with the way it was developed, except this game failed miserably, and his appears to be succeeding. So that's why I rate it. I guess it's down to management style. Anyway, Railroads Online. At the start of the game, you will start with the locomotive you see in front of you, named Betsy, and the car behind it, which has blank and no numbers on it. You can see that the car that I've attached to the back has numbers. These are entered in the purchasing screen, which you press G, click locomotives, and you get a purchasing screen here, which I can just about change between the locomotives on now with the different screen settings. So with the new update, we've got this nice new log car that's a bit cheaper, a bit smaller, probably suits Betsy better. I'm using this bigger tier 1 log car, and then as we click through, we've got this new type of hopper, which is a little bit lower, looks a bit nicer. And then we've got a new tank car for the oil. There we go, the coffin car. We've got a new box car for the tools. And we've got the new caboose that came with the last one and the snowplow. And then locomotives wise, we have, yeah, that's one of the first coal ones. Can't see the name behind my little recording screen, but we'll go through these at some point. The 10 Mile, I believe this one's called. That one was the last update. The Montezuma, Eureka, Glenbrook, Climax. We know all these wood engines. Here's one of the new coal ones, which looks like it's going to be interesting at a weight of £72,000. That's the 8-wheel Cook, that's what that one is. That's the new Shay that was in the last update. There's a coal-fired Cook. The original Cook. Oh no, that's the 080 Cook, and then you've got the Class 70. And then we've got a new coal-fired Loco that's bigger than the Class 70. So yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. So that's how you buy the things, and what I was going to show you whilst I was in that screen actually. When you want to rename, down here in the configuration section on the right hand side, there is a number and a name box, and you just have to click into them to enter your number, name, select your paint scheme. Jobs are good. So yeah, second thing you need to learn to do other than building tracks is connecting cars together. So to connect a car together, you hold down the left mouse button and put in the link by moving up or down on the mouse. As you can see, it takes it in or it puts it out. And then you put the pin in with the right mouse button and the up and down. There's a brake on the car. I'm going to take the brake off on this one for a reason. And then I'm going to put the link and pin back in. And you can't put a link in with a pin in place. And you can't put a link in when the cars are together, which is essential information. So get that rolling that way. You don't have to do this with them rolling, you can line them up and stop them and stuff. I'm just doing it this way because it's nice and easy and it looks kind of cool. So yeah, over there you can just in the distance see the new buffer stop, which is nice. They finally put something to end a track with that isn't a wall of ballast. Not that, don't get me wrong, I'm a good friend to a wall of ballast when you're having an accident. Kind of slows you down. But on railways, they're kind of ineffective. Trains have a tendency to be quite heavy and they go straight through them. So, buffer stops are better. Trains still go straight through them. But yeah, it's a step in the right direction. Now here I've used a piece of track called the Triple, which is a new piece for the update. So we now have a three-way set of points. We'll see how well they work. One thing, the lever, when pointed that way, is actually the wrong way round when you look at the set of points. So I think that's probably going to be sorted out at some point. It is a new update, these bugs need reporting, but I'm surprised that Astragon haven't caught that one in their Q&A process. Astragon, if you need a better tester, look me up. I am Mr. JP, I have a Discord, let's just say other developers are using my input, and I think that Railroads Online needs it, so if you guys want to hire me, I am available. Because currently when you click this to the middle position, it's in the middle, and then when it's on the far side, it's over there. Now, this is the correct way to be linked up, but it's going to confuse some people who aren't railway people. You saw me operating the controls in first person. This view is the the user interface, as it were. You get into it by looking at the foot plate, so the lower side of any loco under where you'd stand. And it's all slide bars, 1 and 2 controls the regulator. If you want a keyboard option, I don't think there's any other keyboard bindings, and I think there should be, because this is a great option for people who have limited mouse mobility, i.e. have shakes or muscular problems. One thing I have noticed in computer games is a lack of disabled access. Sometimes they leave continuous, massive, repetitive jobs in computer games that require your hand on the keyboard and mouse, which is fine if you're able-bodied and have got the ability to do that. But if that kind of thing is a strain for you, it's nice to be able to play a game with just one hand on a mouse, especially if you've got, one arm, which has happened to more than one person I know. But there we go. That's one of my little gripes. I only had one arm for a couple of months when this game first came out, and it was a pig to play. Utter pig. So yeah, expect to be doing a lot of shunting in the game. Shunting is railroads. In America they term it switching, I believe. They call a set of points a switch, which, understandable. I get why they call these things, but guys, the British invented railways along with the Germans, so you probably want to listen to us. We won't get into safety measures that were installed in British railways that would have prevented accidents in the US. But hey, another pet gripe. So yeah, the new version of this game is running very smoothly. I've got to admit, as a single player simulation, this is doing marvellously. It is multiplayer. I've yet to test out the client options because I haven't logged into anyone else's game, because I'm a bit of an antisocial person, I guess. When it comes to gaming, I'm not very good at online socialising. However, at some point I'm hoping to drag a mate of mine in and do a little test, and we'll find out. But this map's more about building something that is historically traditional. So we'll be running smaller trains. This train is absolutely massive for the loco that is pulling it, and I doubt that it's going to be able to stop it in time at the other end of the track. But hey, let's have a laugh. So to fire a locomotive, you just look at a woodpile, grab a couple of bits by clicking with the left mouse button. Left mouse button to open the door. Look at the fire. You'll see on the top left there's a 47% at 400 degrees C, so the fire's hot. And you just right click looking at the fire, and in it goes. You see the percentage going up about 20% for each bit. You can carry 5 bits and that'll 100% the firebox of Betsy. Don't expect 100% the firebox of a bigger loco that way. So I'm going to use the the GUI, because basically you can't fall off the locomotive in this mode, which is kind of handy. Even though I could now teleport ahead and grab a train that's running out of control on the track, because we have these nice new teleport stations, which I actually need to install one down here, but not down here. If that makes sense, because you can respawn to this location, but it's a really slow thing to do. The teleports are, for the telegraphs are almost instant, which I find quite interesting. So we go through these two switches. I've built a siding line there down to that delivery point to allow the reversing of trains, and the main line is actually going to run through on this other line over here, and it's this main line bit that we're going to sort out down here, because there is a set of switches, or a switch, that is blooming miles away up here. Here it is. This could be a little bit interesting. Okay, stick brake on here, jump out, and go have a look-see, because I would like a little telegraph house here, next to this switch with a door that opens basically out onto it. And I think I'm going to need a little... I think I just got hit by my own train. A little piece of groundwork for the building to sit on. I think we'll use the wall. Not that one though, because that's got track on it. Scroll down. Select the little box, you see a drop menu. You can select whether you've got ballast or rail on the top of these walls, which is kind of nice. Rotate it round into the direction that you want it to be in. In this case I want it parallel with the rails, so you can change the amount of degrees that these blocks move to the grid and a few other bits and pieces. And you can lay these flexibly out like that, they're all bendy, or you can press page up and it turns it into a circle mode, which I'll go into later when I'm building track. But currently, because there's no circle entered, I get a straight piece, which is useful. So put that out there. And then facilities, telegraph office. Now I don't like the paint scheme. The door is on that side, so, and we'll put that just sort of there. Okay, so that flooring comes through. Interesting. What's happened here? Oh, I see. So it looks like the telegraph office doesn't fit on ballast very well. So we'll just demolish groundwork. I see. That's not classed as groundwork then. Maybe it's classed as rails. There we go. Learn something new every day. That I don't like. Didn't think that one through. Luckily everything's free at the moment, so it's kind of messing around doesn't cost you anything. Alright. So now, once you've built a telegraph office, go to the map, you can see these T marks appearing, and they give you the ability to teleport around, by just clicking on them, which is kind of handy. Because it means that you can now change a set of switches that are in the middle of nowhere before you leave with your train and set up the track and everything and just jump back without running around for half an hour. Which, or by something I had done was use this little Betsy engine after progressing through the game and build a set of tracks so that I could just run up the line to the switches, click them and run back quickly, which was kind of amusing. But yeah, I like the new effects of the smoke. I like the new chuffing effects. Still in Cox steam's kind of cool. Whistles, kind of cool. Not sure what the sound balance is going to be like on this. I may be wasting 15 to 20 minutes of time talking when you can't hear me. Who knows? I don't think there's any reverser cutoff programmed in anymore. So I don't think this uses less water for backing the reverser off like it would on a real engine, but I think it just reduces the power to the wheels, which is handy if you want to reduce slip on a very powerful engine. You can set the reverser to like only 10% useful regulator, and it's effectively 10% regulator. It gives you a lot more control when you're shunting, especially when using geared Loco like the Climax. You can adjust things by millimeters that way, which is kind of handy. I'm just going to leave it full bore because we're hauling a big train and we're going to be hauling up a hill. So I will slow down at one point because there's set points I need to change after we've gone through them, which is always a bit of a laugh. So yeah, I built all this track up here, and this follows a line of ridge and gully all the way up to this area here, which we've come away from where there's going to be a corner on the main line. Into this is the sawmill yard. I tend to build mine as a loop, which allows me to reverse the Loco running the wooden stuff to the mines very easily. This will come through here. This is the loading dock, or loading bays. Shut down the rag. This is the loading bays. They should all be lined up to load, I hope they are. This is the unloading lake, which I've built a line across, and everything joins up into... I was going to use a triple up here, but I got a bit nervous about them and I wanted to test them out a bit more first, so I put in a single at the moment. So here, this is the other half of the reversing line. You can go down the delivery line or the reversing side, but this is the set switches which I want to change over. So nice walking pace on the Loco. Let the last bogey clear the switch. There we go. Run back up, jump onto the back of the train if you can. Ooh. Nope, just run at it, don't even jump, you just ping up. But jump the gaps. Because otherwise you can end up stuck in the wagons until the train's gone past and start at the back again. Right then. So this is the line that I've built to the logging camp, and I'm not very decorative about this kind of thing, but I quite like this one. Come around the corner here. Bit more work, because I figure the lowlands get a bit boggy through here, so I thought I'd build it as a bridge. But it's not too high, it's not what I call a sky bridge, and it is a logging line. There's be plenty of wood around, and I've seen these things 100 feet high in videos and photos. Say videos, the kind of filming back then is 30 seconds of glitchy mess, but there are pictures of these bridges and they are huge and they run for hundreds of yards like this one does, but they're easily 5 times this height. So sky bridges aren't necessarily unrealistic between two canyon walls. But yeah, this one I quite like, because it goes quite nicely up here and onto this ridge. It's actually quite a steep slope as well for me. I normally don't build steep slope bridges, but it meant for a very short line, which is kind of handy. Because this game does eat a lot of time. It is a slow game. See, here's the other telegraph office. I wonder whether I should have built this curve in the wall, but yeah, never mind. So you come past the telegraph office on the way in. The straight ahead goes to the Cordwood side, which I'm not using at the moment because I haven't built that line yet. That'll be either the end of this video or the next video that I'll start building that. So yeah, this brings us through here. I'm taking it nice and easy because I've got quite a lot of stuff to stop behind me. I don't even know if this is long enough, so we might have to do some line building straight away. I do believe I've got this game set on all hard mode. Find out when I do the delivery. See where this train's pulled up at. Okay, so we need to put... The line isn't too big. See if that's any better positioning. Yeah, that's a bit better. And I'm so glad they fixed this. You used to have to click these cranes for every log that went on, and you actually had to move backwards and forwards a little bit with your character from this central point. See, you can't highlight the other crane, which meant you needed 2 hands to load a train. So we've got 6 cars here, 6 logs per car. I'll let you do the maths, but I think it's 36. Yeah. So yeah, you've got to click those cranes 36 times. It's 10 second sort of cycle on them. It's a long time to keep your hands over the keyboard and mouse doing nothing. It really is. So yeah, they fixed it so that now they auto-load, which is kind of handy. Probably wondering what I'm doing here. Has JP gone mad? No. Just building a little bit of staging. Yeah, would have been if I hadn't clicked the right mouse button by accident. Little problem I have since the surgery, my hand gets a little heavy on the outside. End up clicking the right mouse button. This is fine for most gaming. Until you're talking about something that involves any kind of accuracy or a secondary fire on that mouse button, and then life gets really interesting. Occasionally random rockets start flying off. But that's that one marked up, and then 2 cars back about there. I want another one. Okay, so see if I've got that right. I've set this up a few times, so I wouldn't say I know what I'm doing, but I know roughly where these things need to go now. So these are markers that mark obviously the right places to load up. They're very handy. At some point I think they're going to put signposts into the game. It will be useful for marking this kind of thing. But until that point in time, these may be a bit close to the track looking at that. Now, as the train gets heavier, Betsy will have more and more problems stopping it. Being hauled along the line by your own train with your wheels sparking is not necessarily unusual. Just have a look and see. Should be alright. If they are too close, I'll find out when I bring the Cook Mogul up here, because Cowcatcher on the front will probably end up hitting them and derailing. Not that I think I'm going to end up bringing Locos that big up here, but just in case. Oh, but that one counts as groundwork. Okay. Trees are a perennial problem. Just click the logging thing, cut. And it doesn't cost you money anymore, which is kind of handy. It used to cost money, and that was kind of annoying. It's because these are embankments. There we go. That one won't do it. Yeah, level's not too bad, that's cool. Bumper. There we go. Okay. Just thinking about bigger trains and locos there. I might extend that a little more, to be honest. We'll see. It may end up getting extended into a switch that goes over onto the other line for reversing locos. Ooh, yeah, things are getting harder work. Betsy's limit might be 4 cars. So yeah, as you can see, it's not a fast-paced game. There are faster-paced railway sims. I've heard people talking about them. I did think about looking into them at one point, but found other games. I think would be the best way of putting it. So yeah, you click those and they load. The interesting thing about them is that they appear to only load 6 if there's a car there for it, and they might only load if there's a half car, half the amount. Because when I pretty much clicked on these cranes to set these lines up over here. So you click on a crane, let it swing round, and mark where it drops, and that's where you need your line. Simple, right? But it only drops 1, not 6. So someone thought that one through. They should have done, because we've been suggesting it for over a year as players, so they had a year to think about how to write the piece of programming for that. I'm not a software guy, but I do know that a lot of the CNC machinery I've used, the programming languages are a lot simpler than what I see on PC. But it might be because those are actually a user interface. Difficult to tell because they're sort of hardwired, there's no software or even a screen, it's just like they were squared LCD displays, and the menus were like numbered. So working out the actual background file architecture of a machine like that is kind of hard work from a software like user end. But yeah, okay, so I've got a fully loaded train, I'm going to take the brake off. And backwards we shall go. As I say, I use the UI a lot because I like first person messing around with the throttles and everything. It has its place. It's good fun. It's roleplay. I like it. Very immersive. However, like with 3D VR goggles and actually using your hands on the controls with some kind of glove sensor would be awesome. But for just sitting and casually gaming, this is the, in my opinion, better option. I do like these telegraph offices, they give you a nice little building to put alongside the lines. I might try putting the pole nearer the line. Or parallel with the line. I don't know. I don't know. Getting decorative, as I said before, I am not good at it. Now this is quite a steep downhill, I think it's like 2%, so it'll be interesting to see what this does, whether it goes too fast and derails, because there is a nasty corner ahead. Little Loco's legs going like the clappers. Yeah, it doesn't appear to make it go any faster. But it might be because we're at this Loco's top speed. Yeah, this section's still downhill, so probably shut the regulator and this will roll. So I topped off the fire when we started rolling and doing stuff. Nearly out again, so you get about half an hour out of 5 bits of wood, which is pretty cheap for a wood loco, I'm going to be honest. They're normally a bit of a fuel muncher. I have experience with steam restoration, railway locos and traction engines. One thing I spent a lot of time from a very early age was shoveling coal. Which we now have. We have coal. It is the coal update. Unfortunately, I'm going to be honest, half an hour is about the time needed to run the coal from the coal mine down to where it's delivered. So I have gone for a shower and come back, and that train's still been heading towards its destination before now. I haven't built that line yet. It's probably another 6 hours work. Getting up to the iron mine is probably going to be the same again. Getting down to the iron works will be simpler. That'll be an hour or so, and then there'll be 6 hours of build of that yard, the iron mine yard. The coal mine yard is a bit simpler, but at the same time a little bit more complicated. We are not stopping. That's the buffers. Ooh, that was lucky. Okay, but it does give me a chance to demonstrate something, which is roll by deliveries, which depending, if you build this as a loop, you can do it quite well. So we've got the train moving back this way. Should be a level piece of line, so it should just keep rolling. About there. I'll do to start it. Look at the load, I've got it set up on 1. I don't know if that's the default, and it just unloads. And because of where I've built my rail, it doesn't bounce or anything like that, though that might be something to do with the current version. There we go, got it. Delivered 36 plus 12 is 48 logs to the logging plant in this game so far, and I haven't taken anything away, so stick the rear brake on. You always want to leave a train sort of pushed up together in this game, because when you load the game, the pins and rings are generated after the rolling stock, and if they're separated or drawn apart, you end up with a train that is no longer connected together, which isn't useful. I also don't like parking on switches. Don't ask me why. I may have been told at some point it's a bad idea. Who knows? Okay, so that's that set up. I've delivered, as I say, 48 logs. So, how much have we got over here? I think I left the settings when I set this game up on medium. That's annoying. Okay. But not too bad, because what I'm doing next is... So, yeah, that's a logging line. That's a logging delivery. You're going to need fueling towers and fuel yards and stuff. I haven't built those yet. But over here, off of this spur, this being the main line south, as it were, toward the warehouse, on this line, I'm going to build a line that goes straight ahead here. And if you bring up the map, you can see it's pointing at this nasty gully feature. And you want to come down here with the main line and meet a main line that goes around this corner. Because eventually you're going to be running coal all the way down here to the ironworks. So you could actually build a shortcut that doesn't go near the freight depot. At the same time, it's just as easy to run through there because you're going to need a line back from the refinery to the freight depot anyway. So you may as well build that as part of this. But yeah, so the next line I'm going to be building in the next video will be from the sawmill across here, across this gully, through this V shape. And here you've got a choice. I do believe the line to the smelter is meant to go around across here onto this flat terrain, turn around and go back down this slope and around this corner and into the smelter. I'm going to be going slightly differently because my line's going to run around the top here. Yeah, it does. It goes across the bridge here and around the top here. And I'm going to hug this northern wall, as it were, and come around straight into this area here. And from over here somewhere there's going to be a set of points to allow a line to drop off down here. There's a bridge area somewhere here onto this hill and back down to the smelter. You can see the start of the line just in there. The reason I'm heading up this way, there is a river running up through here. I think it's this valley bit here. And the line will follow up this valley somewhere. Whether it goes uphill or not, I'm not sure. Whether I run along this plateau to the coal mine. So that's the coal mine route up that valley. And by coming around the end of this and hugging the western edge of this hillside, you can see a line running all the way through here. And this line is actually the route of the iron ore mine track. So I'll be following that one. Now, I am sure there is another route across this way to the iron ore mine, but I haven't found it yet. So I'll be leaving that one out for the moment. But the joy of using this route down into the smelter instead of this other one is that it does give you a shortcut for the iron that comes out the smelter that goes to the coal mine, if you want to use it that way. So there's a few different ways of doing this. So that's going to be, as I say, off of this route here. So that's going to go somewhere down this way. There's going to be enough space for a set of sidings for empties and fulls and for turning locos around and that kind of thing. But that's a later on. For the moment, this is just going to be a line that comes straight through here, I reckon, looking at that. Yeah. Yeah, it's going to come straight down through here. And you can see there's a lot of trees, there's a lot of green. I haven't got the foliage turned on because it helps with line building. Because this line I intend to keep fairly near the terrain. I'm trying to avoid the sky bridge thing. So yeah, this is the gully I sort of follow for the main line, I believe. Yeah, it is. So over here is a bit of a hillside and a drop, which is worth knowing about. And you can see this sort of kind of a pre-built bridge footing on this side here. That little lump and that little lump. And then it's probably best to hug this outside wall with your first line through here. And then come across to the inside. Because down here, this gully really narrows into here. And so you can actually get 3 lines through this gully. I've done it. But it is pretty narrow. And since they've done an update, they might have changed certain aspects of the map. I've been wondering whether they'd change the terrain elevations. Because I'm sure my logging line was never that shallow before. So yeah, it'll be a matter of coming through here. And then at the end of this gully, it opens out, even though you can't tell because it's covered in trees at the moment, to a left and a right. Left takes you along that slope, right takes you along this one. You can see there's a gully here. It's a pretty steep downhill into it, but it's got an uphill at the other end of it. So, and there's this shelf. And this is the right-hand route. And this shelf goes up and curves around a little to the right. And it's a lot higher than any of the terrain around it, which makes me think the gully and going over the end where it's lower is a better option. I guess it depends whether you're going left or right at the end here. Because as I say, over here there is actually a ridge that runs. So there's nothing to connect a bridge to at this end. Over in that direction toward the iron mine there is a massive chasm as well. But back in this direction you've got this hillside with this nasty cliff. But I don't see anywhere to bridge to off of it, if that makes sense. So I class that route as a bit of a null situation unless you're into steep railway lines, because it really does run downhill fast. The objective here is the sawmill over here, or the iron mine, or the coal mine, but the coal mine and the iron mine are essentially the same line. So that's pretty much a non-starter by going out of the gully and to the right, in my opinion. I've tried it a couple of times, I've never made it anywhere with it. It just doesn't seem to work as a route because people have been talking about routes. My personal favourite route is to come out the end of the gully that I'm looking at now and sort of turn left, hugging this hillside here. Because you can sort of staying roughly on the level, hug this hillside, build a bit of a bridge between this lump and the next. Keep it kind of level as you hug this hillside all the way through, if you can. So yeah, let me just check the map a sec. Yeah, it is. So through here there's like several levels of plateaus. This plateau down here that I'm looking at is roughly where the line would run, around this lump. And it's still plateauy. It might be built for a marshalling yard, because there are intended routes built into this map. Whether you call them old outdated lines or whatever. But yeah, so there's that shelf that runs around there, and there's this shelf up here that I'm walking on, which might be the shelf that you want to be on really for the next bit. So there might be a climb uphill, or it's a matter of following that shelf and round the ridge line, because you can actually descend quite well along there if you wanted to. But by staying up on this ridge, you end up coming through here. Yeah, we can start to see the smelter down in the bottom there. And this pretty much, this ledge ends, and this is one of the more challenging bits later on when we're constructing, is to bring a line across here and put in a bridge that goes at this level across here. Which I'm hoping to hug this hillside and come off this as the abutment, because it looks built for it. And over there you can just see the arrival point there, where I'm looking at the moment. So you come across this valley, which is the smelter valley. I've got a feeling you're meant to bring the cordwood over this way, but that isn't going to happen, because that is a nightmare valley. So yeah, up on this slope, and this guy needs more mountain goat abilities, by the way. Like, he needs to up his stats for that. You can see how level it is across to that, where I was stood before I fell off. It's built for a bridge, it's built for a massive bridge. I've got massive bridges in my other game, in my first video you may have seen. That's where that bridge is, and then the line comes out and across and around this way. Giving you a nice backdrop to working at the smelter. You've got this massive bridge in the way. And then you follow pretty much this area around, and I'm hoping to hug the northern sort of slopes, as it were, through here. And one, because I want the track to be as far that way as possible, but two is what happens around this corner. Climb up this bit. You can see that waterfall over there. That's the objective of running this line around all of this northern rock formation, is to get to that waterfall over near that mountainside, because you have to turn and go down sort of a ramp near here and down the back of this hill that you can just about see through there, and into this valley and around to the smelter. To do this involves a big change in height, so you need to run that way a long way first, and then back that way, and then in. However, up here, you need to turn off from this direction, because you're going to be hauling steel back out down the line to the other ironworks, which is where the coal goes as well, which is why this is a common line. However, you're also going to have to run iron down along that ridge there and make a swing away from us, as it were, and then back around to come in to join this line that goes down the hill again. Or you're going to have to build a custom iron line that zigzags somewhere down over there and then comes in. So it's a bit awkward, as I say. It's an awkward set of lines to build. But yeah, just to demonstrate how useful the teleport thing is, I'm going back to the sawmill where I'm going to start this line when I build it. So you just click and you're there. It's so fast. It's a lot faster than the respawn. I should have put one down nearer the freight depot. Definitely should have put one down nearer the freight depot, so that I could just click down there and move down there, but I don't need to go down there for the moment. So yeah, we're back up here. One thing I am going to quickly go into is refueling locos. Eventually the amount of wood they're sold with will run out. Sort of the guarantee, right? So this will be interesting. I'm going to do a save before I do this. Save it on slot 1 this time. Because this used to launch trains. We'll see if it still does. Ah, no, they've sorted that out. Excellent. Okay, so what I tend to do is I'm looking for the legs, there they are, at the back of the refueling place, and I'm going to try and line them up with a known object. And there's my ability to click the right click without actually knowing I'm doing it again. Another simpler way of doing this is to line up the line nearest us with a line, and then build your delivery line afterwards. But because I built the other line first, and that's a little far away, I'd like it a little closer than that. See if that second one's any better. Yeah, a bit. It's better over here. Okay, so locos are going to come in. I'm going to put the watering tower on the far side, I think. Aha. Yeah, okay, when building water towers, it's sometimes best to put a piece of embankment in. For them to sit on. Because it just brings the height up a little, because the thing about the water tower is it needs to be pretty accurately aligned. Oh, interesting. Doesn't want to sit on that. Might have found a glitch in the game here, because it's the second thing I've tried to build on a built-up wall that won't build on it. Yeah, definitely doesn't want to do it. Don't know if there's a different option for that. It's going to make things a little bit awkward to line them up with the track. In fact, it's going to make it very awkward. I'm going to go with that and see what happens. Okay, so now we've got a firewood depot, and what will happen is that the log train will come down here and I'll be able to deliver logs off this side and they'll drop in, and et voila, we'll have firewood stacked up in the middle here. But for the moment, I can take from the piles from this built one, and you can just build another one and get some wood. The joy of the wood locos. And to fill up a loco, just aim at the wood pile till you see the little highlight on the left hand side, and right click. You can see there. It's best to use these stacks evenly, or leave one completely full. I tend to use them evenly because it slowly uses up the wood from the middle. If you use them unevenly, you'll empty the last stack and then it takes a while for it to refill. By using them evenly, they all refill evenly and they pretty much stay full all the time as long as there's wood in the middle. If you use only this end stack, it will get empty, and then this next one will get empty, and then you'll have to pretty much, you'll get to the last stack, and every time you take wood, it will generate wood at these. But once one stack is full, it appears to stop generating wood. I don't know if that's changed. It may have changed, but it was something that niggling little bits of efficiency, you know, niggling little bits of efficiency. So yeah, this is the game. I'm probably gonna I'm gonna have to square that one up. Okay. How close can the legs be? Oh yeah, they can be touching that ballast. Okay. That button needs to be bigger. So you can't lay a building in third person view. Something to be remembered. Oh, that's better. I like that. I like that Colgate flavour. There we go. So, yeah, I am Mr. JP. This is Railroads Online. The next video will be mainly me walking through woodland, chopping down trees and building tracks. But yeah, so that's how the game works. Thank you very much for joining me, guys, and putting up with what is nearly an hour's worth of boring railway conversation. But for those of you who are just starting to play the game, it's probably very useful. But yeah, have a great day, and thank you for viewing, and don't forget to subscribe. If you want to talk about these kind of games that I'm doing videos on, feel free to join the Discord. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you again. Stay safe.